In this video, we're going to talk about our new power distribution box, the DB-9 for the Blackmagic PYXIS. It's available in a gold mount version and a V-mount version, and it's also available as a hard-mounted camera version or a 15mm lightweight rod-mounted version. To install this, the two screws go directly into the top of the camera, and we have a recess here on our top plate that accommodates that. There's also a bit of a horseshoe shape here, and you can fit the original Blackmagic handle on the camera body and install this at the same time if you don't want to use our top plate system. The DB-9 can take an ARRI standard 3-pin Fischer trigger signal, which is a close to ground, and translate that into the USB-C communication that the camera requires. So we can install this USB-C into the remote port and then plug it into our camera body. You can see that we have our BP-U35 battery installed already, and our 3.5mm audio cable going into our side plate with breakout AB9. So we'll plug our USB-C in here, align our two 1/4-20 screws on top, use a 4mm or 5/32 Allen wrench to tighten those down. The DB-9 has a friction hinge built into the top here, so you can grab the battery plate, pull it out to access your internal battery, CF Express cards. If you're using something other than the BP-U30 or 35 battery, this size here, something like the 60 or 75, which I think is a similar size now, you can use that here, but you have to have the battery plate hinged out just a little bit to give it more room. There are 3 screws here to allow you to reposition this plate if you have a wider battery. For example, this one here, this core battery, is perfect for this configuration where the battery is closest to the power outputs. But if you have a wider one, you might pull this over to give room for your 2-pin and 3-pin connectors there. We have an onboard battery here, so this LED for battery is illuminated, showing that that's the active source. We have a 4-pin XLR for our DC input. And if you're connecting a block battery, like this one, you can see here the DC input is prioritized. So what that means is it will leave your onboard battery fully charged and use the DC input down to about 12.5 volts. The design lets you get your fingers in here to turn the camera on because the switch is in kind of a strange spot. You can still access that. On the side here, we have access to our SDI port, and this fits a right angle SDI cable perfectly. If you have a straight cable, it can be pulled out with a hinge design here, so you can run any type of cable that you might need. The DB-9 has 2 D-taps on top at battery voltage, a 5-volt USB at 3 amps. We have 2 3-pin Fischers at 24 volts and 2.5 amps, and 2 2-pin LEMOs at battery voltage. When the USB-C cable is connected from the remote port to the rear USB port on the camera body, the 3-pin Fischer allows an ARRI standard trigger signal to trigger the camera for recording. So if you have a simple trigger like this pickle here, we can install it onto our box, and now we can start the camera recording. Another neat feature of the camera-mounted version is you can quickly remove the whole system using this thumb screw and pack your bag with just the camera body here. You can also use this 15mm clamp to go onto a standard 15mm rod. So if you wanted to put this further behind the camera to counterbalance, you can do that and then just reroute your cables that way. The 15mm rod mount version is similar in functionality. It just attaches to the lower 15mm rods. This is a 3D print currently, so the final version will look much nicer than this. But just slide this onto 15mm rods. You can pivot the battery plate to get it closer to the camera body. Then lock the knobs. Plug in our 2-pin LEMO. Then you can adjust this depending on how you want it. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of power management for just a second. Batteries have different capabilities. Most batteries have 10 amp capability, except for the really, really tiny ones. Some also go up to 12 and 20 amps. And there's a switch on the side here that you can set to match your battery capability. So at 10 amps, it's a very safe level. That means that most batteries will be able to power the camera. The PYXIS runs from about 1.5 to 2 amps when it's running. So the remainder, the 8 amps, is allotted to accessories. So let's say you have lights, wireless transmitter, focus motors running off of this DB-9. If you overload the accessory outputs, The box will shut the accessories off and leave the camera running, and that's so that you don't corrupt your take. This box represents an overcurrent situation. We'll plug that in. You can see the smart fuse red light comes on, and that means that power has been disabled to the outputs here, but you can see that the camera is still running. To reset, you push this button, but if you don't fix the problem, this light won't reset. So first you have to readjust your accessory configuration to be below that 8 amp threshold, and then you can push the button and power will be re-enabled to your accessories. The DB-9 is available now at MID49.com.